Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the public hearing for the proposed fiscal 2023 year tax rates and fees, as well as county and zoning code amendments. I think we can launch right in right now. Our folks are relatively few, so I don't need to give my usual recommendations regarding social distancing for those participating. We our public speakers. Just a few things to note. Sign up will be available online and by phone, either at countyboard.arlingtonva.us or at 703-228-3130 until 8 p.m. this evening. Is that right, Madam Clerk?
That is correct.
Great, okay. And if you are here in person and unfamiliar, you can adjust the podium height using those up and down arrow buttons on your right. We ask that you speak directly into the microphone. That helps us hear you as well as those listening at home. And if you are submitting documents as part of your testimony, please send them to the clerk with your name and contact information so we know how to follow up with you. For those who may be joining us remotely, please note that we do ask that you please keep your microphones muted and your cameras off until you are called on to speak. You can unmute yourself using *6 if you're on the phone, or click on the microphone button on the toolbar if you are on Teams, either on an app or browser. After you're done speaking, you can exit Teams and continue to watch the meeting via the live stream at arlingtonva.us or on cable channels 25 and 105 on Comcast, Verizon, Fios 39 and 40. The tone will indicate when your time has elapsed. You'll get a 30-second warning. That's the first chime. And I believe we have our Spanish language interpreter with us this evening. Is that correct?
It is correct.
Hello, could I ask you to introduce yourself in this English and Spanish, please?
Sure. My name is Laura Castro, and I will be your Spanish and English interpreter. Mi nombre es Laura Castro. Seré la intérprete de inglés y español.
Muchas gracias, Señora Castro. And those who wish to submit written statements in lieu of making an oral presentation are very welcome to do so. County Board at arlingtonva.us is the best way to get it to us. So, Madam Clerk, could you call our first speakers, please?
Our first speaker is Mary Ann Gooley, followed by Audrey Clement.
Welcome. Oh, could we? I'm so sorry. I'm just going to ask us to turn on your microphone, and we can add a few more minutes to the back end of your time if we need it. Yeah?
Oh, okay.
Thank you so much, Ms. Gully.
Hi. I facilitated a Nextdoor app that every member of the county board should have received, which contained messages from 485 angry citizens. I was not on it, so I'm 486. And this was last September. Each of you should have gotten it. And they were very concerned about the extreme increase in real estate taxes last year. And this was just a whole bunch of a discussion about that. So I'm here to reinforce that. I hope that you all have listened to that. And in my own personal budget, my real estate taxes last year increased by $388. The effect of that increase on homeowners insurance is something that you may not actually be aware of, but it's a double whammy. So with the increase in real estate taxes and value, my homeowners insurance was increased by $718. So when you're increasing our real estate taxes, there's also a collateral effect. So I hope that you will listen to that Nextdoor app and help use that to inform your decision. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gully. Thank you for coming in tonight.
Our next speaker is Audrey Clement, followed by Joan McIntyre.
Good evening, Dr. Clement. Are you on the line?
She was with us.
Okay.
Ms. Clement. We will move on to Joan McIntyre.
Welcome back, Ms. McIntyre.
Good evening. I'm Joan McIntyre, and this evening I'm expressing my own views and not representing C2E2 or EcoAction Arlington as I have done in the past. My comments are intended to offer ideas on how Arlington might creatively use its authority, as allowed by the state, to set tax rates and fees to address the climate crisis. I'll provide a few examples. The broader point is that we need to see how every part of the government can work together to achieve our climate goals. Arlington can follow Alexandria's example as it revised car tax revenue estimates due to the surge in car values, offering tax relief to all owners and setting aside $2 million for a climate action fund. For Arlington, that would be about the equivalent of $3 million. The county could offer property tax breaks for energy efficiency buildings and rooftop solar as allowed by Virginia law. The residential utility tax, which I would remind you was adopted by the county board to fund CEP implementation, might be adjusted to promote a shift away from fossil gas to renewable electricity through a gradual reduction on the tax on electricity as the grid becomes greener. In the long term, the tax would have an automatic sunset as county goals for renewable electricity and carbon neutrality are met. The county could offer discounts on permit fees and expedited processing of applications and inspections for buildings being built to zero energy or zero carbon standards, with extra incentives for protecting existing trees and canopies. A land use ordinance with associated property tax breaks could be adopted to allow owners who are willing to restrict future development to protect natural resources and tree canopy, and possibly even preserve small and more affordable single-family homes. More broadly, I'd like to encourage creative thinking in how we can use tax and fee-related incentives as part of a whole-of-government approach. In my experience as a now retired federal employee, most civil servants are both knowledgeable and dedicated to serving the public, and when given the motivation and opportunity, will respond creatively to offer solutions to pressing problems. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. McIntyre.
Our next speaker is Victoria Troon, followed by Alyssa Marlow.
Can you see me and hear me?
We can. Welcome back, Ms. June.
Okay. Hi. I'm just going to read my thing again. So thank you for hearing me again. I addressed you guys on Tuesday, but I didn't do a good job introducing myself. My name is Victoria. I'm an Arlington resident, member at Lee Arts Center, and part of the local economy as a small business owner in Arlington. I'm here to state more specifically my request to the board and county manager regarding what I think is item number 30K, the proposed Lee Arts Center program membership due increase. The county manager has determined that our arts program serves no purpose to the general public, and therefore we should not receive any support toward program operations. We are required to recover 100% of the costs through membership dues, which means our cost of participation more than doubles if this goes through. What the leadership may not know is how eager and determined the artists of LAC are to be involved in the community. We donate pottery to AFAC, raising funds for their Empty Bowls event. We host events introducing children to clay, including one at Lubber Run Amphitheater in 2019. We've partnered with Lee Highway's Earth Day celebration to bring art into the neighborhood. These events are not ones that are county initiatives, but rather the artists finding a way to personally make an impact. All this to say, over the years, artists have utilized their position as members to bring art to the community along Langston Boulevard and beyond. In recent years, the county has slowly diminished, defunded, or discouraged our attempts to invite the residents of Arlington into an art space, which brings us to where we are today. Being told we have no value to others and that we're only a cost to the county. We've been made to feel like a nuisance instead of an asset. My ask is that the county manager reconsider this cost recovery model applied to LAC. Please see the value we bring to Langston Boulevard and reconsider pricing us out of a space where we've thrived, served our neighbors, and been able to grow as artists and businesses over the course of decades. If our request cannot be considered, we petition executive leadership to allow our program to grow in membership and lessen the financial burden on individual members while it does still exist. thank you for considering.
Thank you, Ms. Trun. I appreciate that.
Our next speaker is Alyssa Marlow.
Good evening, Ms. Marlow.
Like, please unmute *6 or the microphone. She's trying. A couple of our participants are having some trouble with
Technical
Teams tonight.
difficulties.
Would
Okay.
you like to?
No problem. Should we try to go to Dr. Clement, then we can come back to Ms. Marlow?
Yes.
Thanks.
Audrey Clement?
She was on.
Thank you very much. Do you hear me?
Yes.
We can. Good evening.
Okay, great. Thank you. I'm Audrey Clement, the independent candidate for county board. The county manager's budget includes a residential real estate tax hike of 5.3%. This is par for the course since, according to its own data, the county's 10-year average effective residential real estate tax rate has increased at double the rate of inflation. The county argues that the tax hike is driven by rising real estate assessments, not legislated increases in the actual real estate tax rate, and therefore it's not tax gouging. Yet the county has done little to restrain its spending. In fact, it is advertising 115 new positions this year for an additional estimated cost of $10 million. You could double that to $20 million when administrative costs are thrown in. At 1 cent of additional taxes for each additional $8.3 million in tax revenue, the new hires will add more than 2 cents to the current real estate tax rate. In the face of rising assessments and the financial havoc caused by the pandemic, other nearby jurisdictions have taken the opposite tack by proposing reduced tax rates. In a February 25th newsletter, Jeffrey McKay, chairman of the Fairfax County Board of Supervisors, said, quote, "Again, one of my top priorities for our fiscal 2023 budget is to reduce the tax rate to offset the impacts that these high assessments have on our residents' financial well-being. I believe that we can reduce the tax rate and still address recruitment and retention strategies for our county agencies hardest hit throughout the pandemic," end of quote. McKay's desire to reduce tax rates is no accident. In 2021, he took heat from the Fairfax County Taxpayers Alliance for misleading the voters about Fairfax County's own recent real estate tax rate increases. But at least McKay got the message. Not so the Arlington County manager, who has justified tax increases by larding his budget with an unprecedented number of new hires, including more than $240,000 for equity, diversity, and inclusion initiatives. If the county were sincere about its commitment to equity, diversity, and inclusion, it would do what Jeffrey McKay has promised his own constituents: lower the tax rate. It's obvious that rising assessments disproportionately impact people of color. To pay lip service to EDI while gouging the taxpayers is worse than tokenism. It's highway robbery. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Clement.
Okay, our next speaker is Alyssa Marlow.
Oh, can you hear me now?
We can. Hello.
Oh, perfect. Sorry about the glitch before.
No problem.
Thank you, everyone, for your time. As you know, I've come to a few of these recently, but I'm still very confused about the correct time or process to advocate for this program. Every time I speak about it or learn a little bit more, I force myself to try to understand better. I learn a little bit more about the intricacies of this program, and I'm really coming to sort of for help, too. It's on page 444 of the budget, I believe, but this is the real estate discussion taxes, so I'm coming to this as well. I'm advocating for the 2017 real estate tax relief report and asking the county to do the things that it says that it will do in that very report. I spoke to the original author, as my work-related disabilities make it kind of hard for me to understand complex processes only if they're written out. it feels to me like he's one of the very few people that has actually heard me, and he was very surprised that some of the actions in this report hadn't taken place. There are some actions the report promises in the short term, such as implementing additional programs that could provide financial relief to disabled residents, such as waiving personal property and vehicle tax. I don't believe that's taken place. And then the other one, I'm human, and then the other one is creating a feedback mechanism for recipients of the program. There are 54 residents who receive this in the county. I'm one of 11 under age 60, and I can tell you that hasn't taken place because I have tried to offer proactive feedback on this program, and I've been given the complete runaround instead. I believe it will finally be discussed in the April Disabilities Commission meeting after I brought it to them last year and a couple of months ago, but I just don't understand if that's too late and if it needs to be included in the budget or at the real estate tax. So I'm coming to this too. As I've learned a little bit more, for context, the county considers my income level at 0. That's correct. I have $0 of income. The financial difficulties of COVID make the real estate waiver of my real estate tax a lifeline for me. They keep me in my home that's worth about a little over $400,000 that I bought myself and is worth right now less than what I owe because the COVID relief went to others in the county and condo values did not go up like single family homes did. I'm asking to try to figure out how it is to provide feedback on this so that there's an understanding of the ramifications, that there's one, including a certain part of assets causes a tax penalty on people while not including a different one doesn't. And that's more of a question. So please let me know how to have that addressed. Thank you. I hear the beeper.
Thanks, Ms. Marlow.
Okay, we do have an additional speaker. Michael Wall?
Wall, yeah.
Good evening.
Hi. Hi, I just jumped on. I don't have any prepared remarks. I just wanted to make a comment about the effect that even maintaining the current tax rate is going to have on my monthly mortgage. So my wife and I bought our house, which was a stretch, in Arlington about a year ago. And in 1 year, the property assessment jumped by about $120,000. That affects my monthly budget by about $150. So it's a big deal, and that's even keeping the tax rate as it currently is. Now I think 1 year in Alexandria, they actually lowered the tax rate because of the increase in the drastic increase in the property value. So I'm not necessarily holding out hope for that. I don't know, but I just want to make the point that the monthly gash on the budget, just as a result of the increase in a asset that we aren't cashing out anytime soon, is a major effect. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Wall. Okay. Madam Clerk, I believe that concludes the speakers we have now. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay, so we will go into a recess until 8 p.m., at which point we will reconvene. If anybody has signed up, we will hear them at that time.
Yes.
Thank you so much. We are recessed.
Can someone explain to me, how I can get an answer on the questions? I don't know if that's the clerk.
Reconvening from recess, I believe we've had no further speakers sign up. So I am going to ask for a motion to close the public hearing on this calendar year 2022 tax rates and fee and code amendments. Thank you. Yeah, let me just make sure you also know that you are moving to carry over action on these items to the April 23rd County Board meeting. Yes. Okay, so that has been moved by Mr. DeFrantis. Fantastic. No further discussion. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that carries unanimously. Thank you to those who joined us to speak earlier this evening, both in person and virtually. On the 7th, we will be meeting for a wrap-up work session to address remaining questions with staff. And then on April 8th at 3 p.m., we will join with our school board colleagues. Those tuning in who'd like to see how your comments have been integrated into the budget, there will be a final budget work session markup on April 21st at 3 p.m. And then, of course, per Mr. DeFrantis' motion, a vote at our April 23rd meeting. We welcome continued feedback at countyboard@arlingtonva.us. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good evening. We're adjourned. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the public hearing for the proposed fiscal 2023 year tax rates and fees, as well as county and zoning code amendments. I think we can launch right in right now. Our folks are relatively few, so I don't need to give my usual recommendations regarding social distancing for those participating. I believe, are then ready to hear from our public speakers. Just a few things to note. Sign up will be available online and by phone, either at countyboard.arlingtonva.us or at 703-228-3130 until 8 p.m. this evening. Is that right, Madam Clerk?
That is correct.
Great, okay. And if you are here in person and